Welcome. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. I'm Elaine Siegel. I'm Vice President of the Board of Trustees. And we are here this morning for our World Made Whole Casserole to nourish us all. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we're grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth and love, and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love, and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. People of all ages are a welcome and important part of our faith community. We're blessed to have children in the sanctuary for the first half of every service, and the entire service is for all ages about once a month. The nest in front is our designated area for families with young children, where we have a quiet fidget toys and activities, and a kid-friendly order of service. Nursery care is available in room 11 every Sunday. As part of being a welcoming and inclusive community, we have some information posted on the screen that will help orient you to UCE and our service. A few announcements. Join us next Sunday, February 11th, for the Empty Bowls Super Sunday, immediately following the service. Buy a handmade ceramic bowl and you'll get some soup or chili in it. A delicious, well-rounded lunch provided for all. All profits will support the Hillside Pantry, Evanston Produce Mobile, and Connections for the Homeless. See the newsletter for more details. And now, let us settle into our shared time of reflection, celebration, and inspiration. As we begin our worship service, those joining us online are invited to gather your chalice as we join in beloved community. Our opening words are by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Welcome to this place, where equity and justice transcend mere dreams, where they are the air we breathe. Enter this sanctuary, all who yearn for respite from a world rife with scarcity and inequity, rife with the relentless shackles of privilege and bias. Come embrace this space, be embraced by this space, this refuge where scarcity and disparity dissolve into we together, crafting a place where the breath of life is equity and justice, cherished, manifested, sustained. Welcome to worship.
When they try to divide us, it will
The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on land that was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829, shortly before the Potawatomi in this area were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. We remember the ancestors of contemporary African Americans, the individuals, families, and networks of Black people who built up our country's culture and economy, a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We acknowledge the intentional violence that landed on North American shores in 1619, has continued throughout the generations, and remains a reality today. These acknowledgments are one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to take what we learn here today and incorporate it into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. Please join in our words of shared commitment. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land used as sacred space. Topher Carrington, Jim Dibble, and Aaron Testard brought the flowers this morning. As they light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in saying the words on the screen by Reverend Scott Taylor, inspired by John Shar. Toward better days, reminding us that the future is not simply a place we are going, but a place we are creating. The path of new possibilities will not be found, but made. The justice we long for does not sit at the end of that inevitable arc. It lies in the bending that is ours to do. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before we sing our opening hymn, I invite those joining us online to greet each other in the chat, and those gathered in the sanctuary to turn to one another briefly to say good morning, trying to greet someone who is new to you. It's okay.
After the service to continue your conversations and keep building kinship together. If you're new to the congregation, you're invited to visit the welcome table at the back with the red tablecloth in front of that large mural to learn more information about our community. Our hymn is number 1018, Come and Go With Me, verses 1 through 4. This is an African American spiritual, and we do pay residuals, we pay reparations into the reparations fund every time we use an African American spiritual. right. Kathy's not here today, so I got to fill in for the story. Time for all ages. And I don't like that this thing messes with my hair. Anita. Today's Time for All Ages is a wonder box. Wonder box, everybody. Wonder what's in this. Anybody want to help me find out what's in here? All right. What's in here? Lift the lid. Yeah. What's in there? It's bread, and what else?
It's sardines.
Okay, we got 5 loaves of bread and 2 cans of sardines. Does that evoke anything for anybody? Anybody heard of the story of the loaves and fishes? Familiar? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Go for it. I don't think so. I don't think there's peanuts. It's bread. Loaves and fishes. This is the story. Yeah, there's bread. You can all have bread if you want bread. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. All right, split it up. I didn't think the bread was going to be that exciting. All right. There's bread in there. Go for it, Lucas. All right. The point of that was to talk about the story of loaves and fishes. So this is a story, a parable, when Jesus was around, when Jesus was alive, when lots of people were gathering around him, okay, because they thought that he was a healer. They believed he could heal their sickness, that he could perform miracles, right? So all these people are gathering around, and Jesus' disciples, who are the people that stuck around Jesus and followed him around, they were starting to get worried because the crowd was growing really, really big. Okay? And the disciples, his pals, said, Jesus, we're a little worried because there's not a lot of food. And it's hot out here, and all these people are here. We think we should kind of send them away because we don't have enough food to feed them. And Jesus said, you know what? It's going to be fine. Just have them stick around. And they said, all we got are these 5 little loaves and 2 fish. And there are like thousands of people, Jesus. So I don't know what you're thinking, but I don't think it's going to work out. He said, don't worry. Just start passing the food around. And so then, miracle of miracles, the disciples started passing around these baskets of a little bit of bread and a little bit of fish, and everybody had enough to eat. So some people think this is a parable, a story, a message that, you know, has a lesson but isn't maybe true. But other people really think this was a miracle that happened. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we tend to be a little bit more skeptical of miracles. But I think that there is something to think about in this, and I wondered, what is our Unitarian Universalist miracle? What would be a Unitarian Universalist miracle like the loaves and fishes?
The blood's gone.
Okay, all right, you're jumping the gun, Amy. I think that I'm grateful for that. I think that the parable is like our potlucks, right? Unitarian Universalists and lots of other people of faith love to have a potluck, right? We love to bring food, and somehow a lot of people, Iris, that is right. It's because a lot of people do it. So our miracle isn't about one person bringing all the food or making some miracle happen or doing all the work. It's about all of us together doing what we can, and somehow we always have enough, more than enough, right? That's our miracle. So not only do we have enough when we all bring what we can. Sometimes, you know, somebody brings a bag of pretzels or someone brings a whole crock pot of stew, but we always have enough. And sometimes I worry, like, everyone's gonna bring, what if everybody brings Oreos? I mean, could be worse. What if everybody brought a can of sardines? That would be a big bummer. But that never happens. We always have enough. What's your question? Did you forget? Did you forget? All right, come back to me on that one, okay? So we all do what we do best. That's exactly right, Iris. So when we all bring what we can, that's right. Not only do we have enough for ourselves, but we have enough for others, right? We have enough to give away, enough to provide abundance for our community. So a little bit of an exercise of this. Now, this is something that lives in our front, our giving house, right? How many people are familiar with our giving house, right? We collect things in here. We collect from our abundance and we give it to the C&W Market food pantry. And so I invited you all, if you had some extra things at home, to bring them this morning. So if anybody brought in food for the giving house, please come forward now and bring it forward. And if you didn't, check under your seat, because some of you get a canned good, and you get a canned good, and you get a canned good. If you have something under your seat and you can bring it forward, lift up the giving house lid and put it in there. This is our Unitarian Universalist miracle. Yeah, sardines. All right. Awesome. We're going to fill this thing up. I do want to apologize to the people from the food and shelter team that I didn't tell them I was going to do this, so you're going to have kind of a big job this week, wherever you are. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. Yay. And you can bring food and put it in this giving house any day of the week, any Sunday, whenever you're here and you got a little extra lying around, bring it and put it in the giving house. But not out of date things, right? Make sure it's good, fresh. Check those dates. Thanks, everybody. Did you bring some stuff? Good job. You don't have to give that cracker away. Don't worry. We're not going to take that from you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being a part of our Unitarian Universalist miracle, everybody. Well, I know. It's kind of late. That's right. Sometimes people don't have something to bring that day, and that's okay. But when we all bring what we can, there's more than enough. Good job, everybody. Look at this. Are we going to fill this thing up? I think we're going to fill it up. It does roll. It does roll. That's how I rolled it in here. I didn't carry it in myself. Good job. Wow. There's some ramen in there. Not too late. You can still bring more stuff. That's the thing. Yeah. Go for it. All right. Giving house is full. That feels good. Thank you, everyone. And I invite us to settle down into our time of quiet reflection as we share the joys and sorrows of this congregation. If you have a joy or a sorrow on your heart that you would like to be spoken aloud, you can write it in the book that's found at the back table just as you enter the sanctuary, or you can send me an email, or you can fill out the form on the homepage of our website. We listen to these offerings with tenderness and with respect, so let us quiet our bodies and our minds as best as we can and breathe in together. And breathe out. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared before our service today. Reverend Susan is grateful that her wife's 84-year-old uncle is home and recovering slowly after a hospital stay due to an acute infection. Jennifer Crosby, John Hancock, JC, and Michael want to thank our church family for providing a scholarship for JC and Michael to have daycare during this week while they're in Montana with Jennifer's dad in hospice with just a few days left in his life. Sophia Newman writes, my husband had diagnostic procedures this week that led to both joys and sorrows. The joy is it's almost certainly not cancer. The sorrow is that it's a hiatal hernia that will likely require surgery. We hope for a quick and uncomplicated course from here and appreciate the support of loving community. Jenny Walsh writes, my parents closed on a joy. My parents closed on a condo on Central Street on Monday, and we're looking forward to having them closer. And a sorrow that on Wednesday, my dad was admitted to Evanston Hospital where he found he has a brain tumor. This will be an important week of treatment, planning, procedures, and being in that uncomfortable place of so many unknowns. Susan and Tom Carlton are grieving the death of Susan's aunt, and a 97-year-old force to be reckoned with. Medieval music student, organist, pianist, recorder player, avid traveler, gourmet chef, and Scotch lover. The last of her generation in the family. She will be missed. And a sorrow from Kurt Evans. Annette Wallace has gone through the loss of two lifelong friends. Jane, a former roommate and dear friend, passed away after suffering from memory loss. And recently, David, Jane's brother, died unexpectedly. So a great deal of loss. We hold all of these joys and sorrows, and we know that there are many that are on our hearts that might be too tender to say out loud, but we still honor and recognize those. And so we invite you to come forward now to light a candle. And if you need to have a candle brought to you, please raise your hand and we will do so. Please come forward now. For these joys, we give our thanks. For these sorrows, we give our love. Please join me in this spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and source of abundant love, we center ourselves in this moment, aware of our common breath, the shared rhythms of inhale and exhale. Let us rest here for this moment in that shared experience of breath. Let us remember our shared needs for safety and nourishment, freedom and peace. We come to you, Spirit of life, with humility, knowing our limitations in the face of all we would want to heal and repair in the world. We come to you asking for guidance from that source of love that is infinite and found in the spaces between us, found in intentional community. Guide us to the ways of being with each other and with the world that give life, that transform pain into possibility, that move our hearts from hatred to compassion, that open us to deeper understanding and greater meaning. Show us the ways of true peace and justice. Fortify us with courage and wisdom and mutual power to pursue justice and peace all of our days, in whatever ways we can. Help us to be compassionate with ourselves as we struggle to give in the ways that we are able to the collective well-being of all. With gratitude for this day and all the possibility it holds for renewal and reimagination, we say amen and blessed be. As we sing our response, number 1002, Comfort Me, our young people, preschool through sixth grade, are invited to head to their faith formation time with their adult leaders.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with the Chicago Religious Leadership Network on Latin America, known as CRLN. I invite Mary Ellen McGoy up to tell us more about this organization.
Morning. The Chicago Religious Leadership Network on Latin America, or CRLN, builds partnerships among social movements and organized communities within and between the U.S. and Latin America. CRLN works together with its partners through education, grassroots organizing, public policy advocacy, and direct action to dismantle U.S. militarism, free market, economic, and immigration policy, and other forms of state and institutional violence. They are united by their liberating faiths and inspired by the power of people to organize and to find allies to work for sustainable economies, just relationships, and human dignity. Recently, CRLN has accompanied more than 100 immigrants through the immigration program, providing them with legal assistance as well as food, clothing, shelter, and health care. They have also formed a sanctuary working group, which has been deeply involved in resettling immigrants freed from detention or more recently involuntarily sent to the Chicago area in buses. Contributions to the network sustain their Latin America and immigration programs of education, action, accompaniment, and advocacy. Your donation will change the lives of many who are escaping violence, poverty, and persecution. It will also help forge a society that welcomes diversity and respects human rights. The Chicago Religious Leadership Network on Latin America thanks you for your generosity.
You may text to give, mail in a check, put cash in the collection plate, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering or for some other giving. The ushers will now come forward to pass the collection bowls down the rows. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy.
Good morning, I'm Janelle Britton. I've been a member of this church for about 12 years. When I come in those glass doors each Sunday morning, I feel like I'm coming into my blossoming place. It is a place where the smiles and the hugs of the people that I have come to love and trust share with me to help me feel safe and cared for. It's a place where everyone's voice is heard, whether you're singing a song or you're offering your opinion. We know about having our own opinions, don't we? I watch other churches as they struggle, and I watch our church as we thrive. And I ask, why is that? I think it is because this church has worked for decades to create a welcoming, supportive culture. As we have created that, we now are able to handle all kinds of big challenges. Whether those challenges are helping to keep our church building strong, whether they are to help the community be strong, whether it is to help people to have basic human rights, whether it is to feed and shelter people who don't have that. The we of all of this is all of us, members and friends and staff. Sometimes we forget the staff helps make everything work around here, right? They help get us organized. They help make our rooms ready for all of our meetings and for Sunday morning. And as we are thinking about how all of this works, we also want to pay attention to our ministers and the pastoral care and the inspiration that they bring as part of our staff. It is our operational budget that pays for all of this. The key factor behind all of this is, again, us and the we of it, and what it is that we give of our money to help build and create and sustain this church. Everything from paying the staff to paying the utility bills and keeping the lights on, to fixing the broken toilet. The practical aspects of running a church. This operational budget is the glue that keeps us together, as well as the special sauce that makes it inspirational. I ask myself, how important is this church to me? It is that inspires me to give heartily to the pledge campaign. And I hope that you will also.
All
Ken, and thank you for your generosity. And thank you, Janelle. I need a quick minute for costume change. Hold on. Just to continue the theme of messing with my hair. My apron on, my little apron on, chef's hat on. Janelle, thank you for officially kicking off our pledge drive for 2024 and 2025, the World Made Whole Casserole Potluck of Abundance Pledge Drive. Rolls off the tongue. And thank you for sharing the reasons you are committed to giving generously to support our shared mission and values. I want to begin with some very exciting news. We have already raised $336,000 from 81 pledgers so far. Yeah. That's more than halfway to our pledge drive goal, and we have only just officially begun. This year we decided to do things a little bit differently. We asked some folks who consistently give early to join us for one of 4 conversations that we had in January about why they give to UCE, and to ask them to, again, submit their pledge forms early, which is why I could announce such a strong response already. So thank you so much to everybody that has already sent in their pledge forms for the next fiscal year. The conversations that we've had so far have been fun and informative and provided an opportunity for connection about generosity and abundance, and we're having these great conversations are ongoing. This is about what nourishes us here at UCE. What we're hearing is that a lot of people feel a sense of acceptance and welcome and openness among this congregation. And out of that sense of spiritual nourishment, we feel called to reach out beyond our walls, to give of our abundance to the community and the world beyond, to be nurtured and challenged, to have a sense of safety that allows us the courage and strength to face what is to come. We are feeding our commitment to making the world better. This past Thursday, we sent out an email to the remaining pledging households. So by now, every member and pledging friend of the congregation should have received a pledge letter with details about how to submit your pledge form and with a specific ask. And if you are not a member yet or a pledging friend, and we would love for you to be one, so let us know. We'll let you know how to do that. And if you haven't seen your pledge email, check your spam, check your junk folder. It's probably in there. It should be from the UC office with pledge in the subject line. And if you still don't see it, let the office or me know. And additionally, you should have received an email from me inviting you to one of the generosity conversations that are ongoing. We still have 3 conversations coming up in February, including one this Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. And I really want to encourage you to attend one of these conversations. They're a lot of fun, they're engaging, they're interesting, a lot of good information, and good food as well. So if it isn't possible for you and you can't find the email, or you simply just want to turn in your pledge form, go to our website and click the little casserole dish recipe card, and you will, it'll take you to the pledge drive with all the information you need to make a pledge. Each week for this month, we'll be giving you an update on how we're doing, and starting next week for 3 weeks, we'll have a support team member at the back after the service to help you fill out your pledge form if you need assistance with that. We're hoping that everyone turns in their pledge form by February 25th. And then on March 3rd, we're going to have we're going to celebrate our success with a world-made whole potluck of abundance. So please look forward to that. All right. End of pledge drive plug. Going to take off my apron because I can't preach with that hat on my head the whole time. All right. It feels fitting to kick off our pledge drive with the theme of abundance as we begin our monthly Soul Matters theme of the gift of justice and equity. Equity and justice are 2 of the proposed UUA values in the Article 2 draft. As a refresher, our Unitarian Universalist Association has been supporting a process, which is part of our bylaws, to review our principles and sources at least every 15 years. We've put in a lot of effort over this over the last 3 years, incorporating feedback from thousands of Unitarian Universalists around the country. And the Article 2 Commission has proposed 6 values that surround the core value of love. We explored that theme last month, liberating love, and now we're looking at justice and equity. And it's interesting to me that both of these are listed among the 6 core values of our faith. To me, justice and equity seem like similar concepts, right? But they are distinct. So this is how these 2 values are articulated in the new proposed values. And just so you know, each value is listed with one word, easy to remember, and then a definition that explains what that word, that value means to us in our context, and then a covenantal statement of how we plan to live that value. So for equity, it says, we declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. And justice means we work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. Some of you may notice that these newly worded values contain some of the exact language from our current 8 principles, affirming the inherent worth and dignity of every person, promoting justice and equity, the use of the democratic process, journeying toward beloved community, and dismantling racism. These are not new ideas or values, but they're reframed, rearticulated. On the worship planning team, we talked about the differences and similarities between equity and justice. And some of you might be familiar with the images of people of different sizes standing on the same size box or different size boxes over a fence at a baseball game. This image compares equality, where everyone gets the same thing regardless of their needs, compared to equity, where everyone gets what they need to have the same access to the opportunities, to liberation, which is about removing barriers altogether. And P.S. Kathy has this image downstairs on the bulletin board for folks to add their ideas about what liberation might mean or be, or what ideas you have beyond liberation, so check that out. Another illustration of these ideas uses the image on the cover of the book, The Giving Tree. These images compare inequality, equality, equity, and justice. So inequality means unequal access to opportunities, and we don't have to search far to find examples of inequality. It's sort of everywhere. It is present in countless ways in our systems and societies, in schools and jobs and housing, healthcare, and prisons. The next image shows equality with a question mark. Equality, if you'll notice, the tree is bent, right? And most of the apples are on that one side. So equality means resources and opportunities are evenly distributed. See, they both have a ladder to help them reach the apples. But it doesn't take into account that on one side, the tree is leaning away from the person on the right, and there's not as many apples on the right side, right? So it's equality of resources, but it's not quite equity. Equity means the resources and opportunities are shared in a way that accounts for the fact that some people have been denied opportunities in the past or have different abilities to utilize those resources. So you'll see that the person on the right now has a taller ladder, so they can reach the tree just as the person on the left can, but there's still not as many resources on the right side of that tree, if you'll notice. People have different needs and have been impacted by previous injustices in different ways. So equity doesn't always take that into account. But justice means fixing the systems that have caused injustices so that everyone has equal access to the resources or tools they need and the opportunities to use them. No one is left out or forgotten. And you'll see that in this image, they've sort of straightened out the trees so that the apples may grow more evenly, and they each have equal access to what they need. In these two sets of illustrations and in our Article 2 proposed values, equity means promoting each person's worth and value and considering each person's need. And justice is about addressing the whole system so that disparities are not perpetuated and deepened. These two concepts remind me of the parable of the babies being pulled out of the river. You've heard this parable where the babies are floating down the river and people are pulling them out, and then somebody realizes you got to head upstream to figure out who's throwing the babies in the water. It's both of those things need to be done, right? You need to pull those babies out. That's important. Each baby matters, but you also got to figure out what's causing the problem. We are far away from a truly just and equitable world where everyone matters and systems are designed for mutual flourishing for everyone. And it is daunting to try to create such a world. And that is why we need one another. We need one another to imagine that world when it is so easy to forget or lose faith in its possibility. We need one another to provide spiritual nourishment, to resist despair, and to fortify our strength to create that world together. We need one another to call each other into accountable and generative relationships of trust so that we can each bring our gifts to the table and provide the feast for all who would join us. In this congregation, we are working together to build and sustain a fully accessible and inclusive community. We are working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community where all thrive and all are welcome. The work is not complete, and it may never be, but we are actively practicing what it means to be a beloved community where justice and equity, not just within this community, but far beyond it, are made real. Our anti-oppression task force worked for 1.5 years with consultants from the YWCA to examine our systems, our policies and practices, and to address inequality, inequity, and injustice within our congregation. And there are teams that have emerged from that task force which are carrying on the work of making anti-oppression a shared endeavor that we all own, and creating UCE as an inclusive and welcome community for all people. We've had a racial equity action and leadership team that has been working for almost 10 years on programming, ongoing learning, restorative justice practices, and relationship building to address white supremacy culture within, among, and beyond. We have helped to train a whole bunch of folks to work on election integrity and protecting our democracy. We have folks who care deeply and are working on ways to promote reproductive justice, environmental and immigration justice, prison reform, and reparations here in Evanston. We are doing a lot. We're studying and learning and growing in spiritual depth and engagement with the wider community and world. We are working to nourish our inner souls so that we can sustain our ability to be engaged in creating more justice and equity everywhere. And when any of us need to step away because we are in grief, exhaustion, or pain, we are able to say to one another, please take care of yourself and know that you are held in care here. The rest of us got this. We'll keep moving forward, and you can rejoin the effort in the ways that feed your soul when you are ready. Part of living our values of equity and justice means we recognize that everyone needs different things at different times and in different ways. Everyone has different gifts to bring. Living our values means we recognize that everyone's needs matter and each contribution is appreciated. We work together to try to build a world through this microcosm of community where everyone flourishes. This is our practice ground. when each of us shares what we can out of a sense of abundance, mutual commitment, and collective accountability, we have more than enough. In fact, we have so much that it spills out into the world in incredible ways. When each of us shares what we can, we are able to host an overnight shelter, serve meals to those who are hungry in our community, and advocate for fair and affordable housing. We have enough to offer care and work for immigrant and refugee rights. Out of our shared abundance, members of this congregation are able to do meaningful work every day, like providing quality education for children of all backgrounds and means, fighting for reproductive rights and bodily autonomy for everyone, providing care and support to those who are held in prison. People in this community are social workers or healthcare providers for some of the most vulnerable populations. Nourishing and feeding our souls here is not just about feeling good. It is about building our capacity and helping us to imagine and create the world we want to live in. It is about strengthening our commitment to our values so that we can better live them out in the world. The Reverend Cecilia Kingman Miller, in a sermon she gave some years ago titled "The Land of Enough," preached this. Some people might say that the purpose of church is to improve ourselves, to teach us spiritual practices, but not to be involved in social matters. I would offer a challenge to those people, for religion holds a unique role in society. Communities of faith perform a singular function. They have what sociologists call an alternative imagination, an ability to posit a future different from and better than the present we know today. Our religion describes a future in which every child is fed and warm and sleeps in a dry bed, in which all people are free from want and oppression and despair, and our faith calls us to work for that future. End quote. That is what it means to live our values. It's not easy or simple. It is the work of a lifetime. But the whole point of this community is that we support and encourage one another to use our lifetimes toward the purpose of living our values together. We come together in this community of faith and shared values to counteract the powerful societal forces of division and individualism, consumerism, and despair. We are here to imagine and co-create a world where the well-being of all, the opportunity and resources for everyone are gathered and shared. We are here to quell the insatiable hunger of not enough, a falsehood that is perpetuated everywhere around us, that we are not enough, that we do not have enough, that we don't do enough, that there is not enough. We're here to quell that despair and to imagine instead what is possible when we remember the abundance of beloved community and we work to keep building it. When we experience the power of coming together to provide for one another, to gather our resources, to expand that sense of abundance and share from that sense of abundance and wholeness. So I invite us all to come to the potluck with your world-made whole casserole dish, whatever that is. It may be a 2-liter of generic soda, bring it. It may be a double batch crock pot full of vegan chili, bring it. It might be 5 loaves of bread and 2 cans of sardines, whatever you bring. It contributes to the whole. It adds to our collective imagination of what the world can be if we keep calling each other in to the work of equity and justice, nourishing and sustaining us for the work of a lifetime. And even when we find ourselves in the place and time where we have nothing to give, we are still invited to the world-made whole casserole potluck with open arms. You are still welcome to eat, because together we provide more than enough for everyone. That is our Unitarian Universalist miracle. Come to the abundance of beloved community and take a big scoop of world-made whole casserole. You're going to get tired of hearing that phrase, but I'm going to keep using it because I love it. Your gifts and your hungers, your needs and your offerings are welcomed and contribute to the thriving and wellness of us all, so that we may be nourished and so that we can help provide for, with reciprocity, equity, and justice, the nourishment of all. Let us say amen and blessed be.
As we extinguish the chalice, please join us in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn.
May the abundance of beloved community and of knowing how deeply you belong to it fill your spirit and nourish you so much so that you cannot help but give joyfully and exuberantly of your gifts of time, talent, and treasure. And may our sharing of abundance be an endless cycle of reciprocity and mutual care. Go making peace. Amen.
All right. Woo.